Namaskar, dear learners and listeners. I am Anita Devraj, and today my topic for discussion is going to be the Bronze Age civilization, or the beginning of the Metal Ages in the ancient world. Now, go to the market or to the railway station, sit in your home, or stand on the road and look around you. You are going to find many things where metal is being used. This metal could be copper, bronze, iron, or any other. It may be steel. Now, steel is a refined form of iron only. Discovery of metals brought profound and dramatic changes in the lives of the people. We already know that during the Stone Age, humans learned to make tools and weapons of stone, bone, and wood. They lived in caves and found food by hunting and food gathering. Later, they learned about agriculture, domestication of animals, and started to lead a settled life. The Stone Age was followed by the Metal Ages, the Bronze Age, and of course the Iron Age. It was with the discovery of metal that human civilization became highly evolved. During the Bronze Age, advanced civilizations came up in Mesopotamia, China, Egypt, and India. Isn't it surprising that the use of iron started so long back? We still use iron in some way or the other, don't we? Look around you and you will find many things made of iron and steel. We all have steel utensils in our homes. Steel is a refined form of iron. You will realize that India's contribution to human civilization is immense. Isn't it interesting and exciting to know about our glorious past? Now, in this particular video, we shall begin our journey into our past and know how we all humans have traveled through the Bronze Age and evolved into sophisticated, advanced, and highly civilized people. Now, after this episode is over, I am sure you will be able to describe the contributions of the ancient Bronze Age civilizations, that is, Mesopotamia, Chinese, Egyptian, and the Indus Valley. Towards the end of the New Stone Age began the use of metal. Copper was the first metal used by them. The cultures based on the use of both stone and copper were called Chalcolithic cultures. This is also called Bronze Age because of the invention of bronze in this period, which is an alloy of copper and tin. Gradually, copper and bronze replaced stone, wood, and bones to some extent for making weapons and implements. People learned how to make bricks and use them in construction. These bricks were baked and sun-dried. Town-based civilizations came up for the first time in different river valleys. These towns became centers of trade, commerce, and administration. The Bronze Age people had built up great civilizations and made significant contributions in this period. Now, in this particular video, we will talk about 4 major Bronze Age civilizations of the world, that is Mesopotamia, Egypt, India, and China. We will start with the Mesopotamian civilization. Now, Mesopotamia is the land lying between 2 rivers, Tigris and Euphrates, which lie in modern day Iraq. These rivers were often in flood, and in this process they deposited a lot of silt which made the land around them very fertile. This resulted in increased food production. The abundant agricultural produce enabled the growth of a number of crafts. Persons like smiths, potters, masons, weavers, and carpenters. These people sold their products and got their necessities from others in exchange. They carried on trade with far off places like India. Carts, wagons, boats and ships were used for transport and, of course, communication. They also developed the art of writing. The script was a collection of symbols and pictures. They drew wedge-like lines, and so the script came to be known as cuneiform script. The earliest cities of Mesopotamia were like small states, each with its own administration. The ruling class consisted of priests, kings and aristocrats. Besides them, there were merchants, ordinary people and the slaves. The people of Mesopotamia worshipped many gods and goddesses like sky, sun, moon, fertility, etc. Each city had its own patron god or goddess. You can learn more about this civilization if you visit various sites on your laptop or go to the library, in which you will find a vast collection of books on the Mesopotamian civilization. Now, another civilization about which we are going to discuss over here is going to be the Egyptian civilization. This civilization arose in Egypt along the river Nile, which made the land very fertile. The Egyptian kings were called pharaohs. They had ministers and officers in their service that administered the land and collected taxes from them. The priest, of course, like in all other civilizations, enjoyed a very high and honorable position in society. Temples were dedicated to a particular god in each town or city. Traders and merchants carried on their business both on land and water. They were skilled workers like stone cutters and carpenters. Egyptians had considerable knowledge of weights and measures. The pharaohs built the great monuments of the ancient world, the pyramids. They are the wonders of the world. One of the wonders of the world are the pyramids. Since the Egyptians believed in afterlife, they preserved the dead bodies. These were called mummies. You can see some of them in the museum at Cairo in Egypt. The pyramids were built as tombs to keep the mummified bodies of the dead kings. Now was the Chinese civilization, another important civilization of this period. The Chinese civilization grew up in the Honghe Valley in northern China. The first rulers known were the Shangs, who built China's first cities. They also contributed to art and culture. The Chinese writing was developed during this period. Craftspersons of this period, especially the bronze workers, were great experts in this field. The Shang dynasty was overthrown by the Zhous, who built strong forts and walled towns to defend themselves from invaders. It was during the later phase of the Zhou ruler that iron was introduced, thus ending the Bronze Age in China. In 221 BC, the Qin rulers came to power in China. They ordered the use of common language, common laws and common weights and measures throughout their empire. Do you know that they were the rulers who built the famous Great Wall of China? On this wall, 6 horses can run together. After the Qins, the Han dynasty came to power, who ruled till 220 AD. It was during this period that the Chinese traders had contact with the West through the famous Silk Route, crossing Central Asia and Persia. The people of China worshipped a number of deities. Worship of ancestors, nature and spirits were very common. In China, a famous religious preacher named Confucius advocated a system of right behavior. Now, this greatly influenced the Chinese society and government. Confucius laid great emphasis on good moral character, respect to elders, and loyalty to the family, and of course, obedience to the laws of the state. Now, let us do an activity. Did you notice that all the major civilizations arose on the banks of rivers? Identify some important towns in India which rose on the banks of some rivers. Can you think of at least two reasons what made these towns more successful than those which were not on any river bank? You know what you can do? You can open the map of India, go through a particular river, maybe the Gangetic river, and you will find some very important towns. You will also be surprised to know that a major part of our trade is carried on in these rivers, and these rivers help to flourish these towns, and today they are major cities. I can name two of them for you. One of them is of course Delhi on the Yamuna river, and the other is Calcutta. Now, look at other rivers and other towns on these rivers. Now, we shall also discuss Indus Valley civilization. Isn't it important that we should know about our own country? Do you know that India was also part of the Bronze Age civilization which flourished in the valley of river Indus and neighboring regions? This ancient civilization was discovered when archaeologists began excavating the sites connected with it in the 1920s. The first sites to be excavated were Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. That is why it is also called Harappan civilization. At present, hundreds of sites of this culture are known. The most important cities are Harappa, which is in western Punjab, Mohenjo-daro in Sindh, Lothal in Gujarat, Kalibangam in Rajasthan, Ropar, Punjab, Banavali and Rakhigarhi in Haryana near Hisar, and Dholavira in Gujarat. Open the map of the country and you will find all these towns there. Now, one of the most interesting features of this civilization was the emergence of the first urban societies in southern Asia. The most remarkable aspect was the high level of sophistication in town planning, crafts and culture. The people lived in well planned cities. A great feature of the cities was the presence of a fortified citadel which housed public buildings. The cities had wide roads which cut each other at right angles. The houses were made of bricks and most of these were two-storied. There were wells, baths, drains and sewage in each house. Paved roads and street lightings were also known. Apart from the living houses in the lower town, big multi-pillared halls have also been discovered at the citadel area in Mohenjo-daro. Here, the most striking feature was the great bath. Do you know it was 180 feet long and 108 feet wide. The bathing pool in it was 39 feet long, 23 feet wide and 8 feet deep. The great granary of Harappa was another important building. This shows that there was surplus growth of grains. Now, this surplus food had to be preserved somewhere. Not surprising that the ancient Indus Valley people built granaries to preserve these grains, wheat and rice, for future. Now, let us discuss about the society and economy of the Indus Valley people. The people practiced agriculture, animal husbandry, art and crafts, trade and commerce. Main crops were wheat, barley, rye, sesame and pea. Evidence of rice has been found at Lothal, which was a dockyard, and Rangpur. Furrow marks found at Kalibangam shows that ploughing was known to them. Sickles were used for harvesting. Various forms of irrigation were practiced. Cotton was a known product. Animals like cows, goats, sheep, humped bull, dogs, cats, camels and donkeys were domesticated. The people consumed cereals, fish, meat, milk, egg and fruit. Isn't it a very far cry from the Stone Age where they ran around searching for food? Yes, it was. Now, tools and weapons made from copper and bronze were mostly used. Ornaments were made of gold, silver, precious and semi-precious stones, conch and ivory. Of course, iron was not known to them. Among artisans and craftsmen, there were potters, weavers, masons, carpenters, smiths, jewelers, sculptors, stone cutters, brick makers and terracotta manufacturers. Trade and commerce were also very important economic activities. Both interregional trade and external trade was carried out. Several evidences point to Harappan trade with Mesopotamia. Do you know how? Because of the seals of this time being found in Mesopotamia. Main imports consisted of metals like gold, tin, copper and various kinds of precious and semi-precious stones. Among the exports were agricultural products, cotton goods, potteries, jewelries, ivory products and other crafts. Harappan seals were probably used for commercial purposes. The society was divided into classes. Now, let us discuss about the religion and culture of the Indus Valley people. The cult of Mother Goddess seems to have been very popular among them. Many figurines of Mother Goddess have been found. One male deity has also been found at Mohenjo-daro, which has been called the prototype of Lord Shiva, Pashupati. Now, this deity is represented in a seal sitting in a yogic posture and surrounded by animals. Lingam worship and nature worship of trees were prevalent. Can you recall the figure of Shiva? Don't you find him surrounded by animals and he himself sitting in a yogic posture? Yes, maybe he might be the same Pasupati. Can you see the similarities in the religious practices also among the Hindus in India even today? When you visit a Shiva temple, you can also see that Shiva Lingam is worshipped. You must be aware that Hindus also worship trees like people. Now, it is also important to discuss the technical skills of this period. The Indus Valley people had also acquired high levels of technical skill. They had knowledge of urban engineering, weights and measures, health and hygiene. They also knew how to write. They used a script which has not yet been deciphered. Now, this is very unfortunate for us because we do not know what actually happened in the Indus Valley civilization. It is very difficult to say what actually caused the ultimate decline of this civilization. Natural calamities, of course, play a very important role, and it seems to be the most important cause of the decline of this civilization. Hence, recurring floods, drying up of rivers, decreasing soil fertility, deforestation due to constant consumption of wood, earthquakes, scanty rainfall, extension of desert seem to have played havoc with this civilization. According to some scholars, the decline of overseas trade with Mesopotamia may have contributed to the decline of this civilization. With its decline, literacy and urban life disappeared in India for more than 1,000 years. I am going to ask you a few questions. Society in Bronze Age civilization was divided into how many groups? Can you recall? What, according to you, is the most important cause of the decline of the Harappan civilization? Do you think that the Harappan people had overseas trade with another civilization? Can you name the rivers between which the Mesopotamian civilization was founded? Can you name the ancient Egyptian script? Can you name at least 4 sites of the Harappan civilization situated in India? Can you also name the river which flowed in the Chinese civilization? With this, I bring my discussion to an end. Thank you till then.